Hey everybody, Bonehead for the Bonehead Podcast, and welcome to Top 5 Friday. On a Friday, we get together and we have a look at the top 5, something normally to do with Blood Bowl. And we're kind of going through a series right now of looking at the best alternative teams in Blood Bowl from third parties, whether they're third-party prints, third-party teams you can pick up. Basically, just looking for the best options for a specific team out there. And this week, we're doing one of my favorite teams. We are doing Orcs. Okay, so Orcs are available from Games Workshop in the current edition. Straight away, if you want to play Orcs in Blood Bowl, you can do it. You can go buy 2 boxes from Games Workshop, and that's where we get the first kind of stumbling block when it comes to the GW team. Value-wise, it's not bad, but when you're adding 2 to a basket, you're looking at 60-something pounds. Now, when it comes to Orcs, you also can have a Goblin and you can have a Troll. The Goblin, you know, either way, that's going to be another 20 quid, another 15, 20 quid, whether you add a box of Goblins or you add a Troll to it. So for a fully fledged Orc team from Games Workshop, you are looking at 60 to 70 pounds, even when you're looking at getting it from Entoyment or something. And then you hit the trap, which is their cool sculpts. It's a great looking team. I think it was the first team that came back in Blood Bowl 2016. But it suffers from the Games Workshop syndrome, which is 4 blitzers, all in exactly the same pose. 4 Black Orcs, big and blockers, exactly the same pose, which is fine. And you know what? Most of the time it is absolutely fine, and don't worry about it. If that's the team you're running, it doesn't affect anything. But it may be that actually you're looking for something different, and that's where this top 5 comes in. So we put a post out on YouTube, maybe Discord, YouTube, and kind of got some really good suggestions from you to figure out what your top 5s is. Now, normally I put my own spin on it, but because there were so many suggestions and I was able to actually do maths for it, this is your top 5 curated by me. But before we move to our top 5, we've got a few honorary mentions. And the first one is RNE Studio Myth Bowl Orcs. So this was probably one of the first STL teams available, I think, and they've done a really good job. They've captured the orkiness of it. I like they've got little beards, you've got full-on orcs, and RNE Studio, generally speaking, do some really good sculpts. I'm almost certain that Printed Players or someone will be able to print you this team if you need to pick one up. The human team that goes with it works really well. They've done a nice spin on it, and it works brilliantly. If you want to get the STLs to print it yourself, however, wait for a sale, because at $50 for the STL for the team, and then you have to print it, it can be a bit of a cost challenge, and there's no goblins in this team. The Troll, this guy down here, am I in the way? I am massively in the way. This guy, this Troll, is a very cool model, and the rest of them are really well done as well. So I like this team, but at $50 for the STLs, that is very expensive. You can probably find this printed for you for 30, 35 pounds for a full 16, including the Troll. That is value. I love the sculpts. It's an honorary mention. And another STL honorary mention. I've got to call this one out. This is from our friend MG Picks. It was I think it was the first team that they did, and the sculpting is so over the top and characterful. I really like it. Trips has got this team, Ben printed out for him, and it is so good. It is not a masterpiece, but it is characterful. It's a pirate theme, so Punga would be, you know, jealous. And actually, they've got some really great sculpts. The reason I like this one is the orc heads, the orc faces, they really smack of the old Warhammer 40,000 second edition box set goth orcs. They've got that big jaw, the little beady eyes, and it just works brilliantly. So I love this team. It is really good fun. It's wow, it is $10 available on my mini factory. They are pre-supported, but the pre-supports are they're bricks, so watch out and probably pre-support myself. It's a really cool team. The Troll's really good. You get a chainsaw, you get a load of cool individual stuff. It's a really good package. It's something a little bit different. Number 5, so on to our top 5, and this is the Broken Jaws team from Hungry Troll. I couldn't remember who it was made by. Now, picture-wise, you can't see brilliant things, but I've zoomed in on this one here so that we can get a better look together. This is really cool, and again, it's got a bit of a pirate vibe. This is available on their website, and I've skipped ahead, haven't I? This is available for resin for €84. You get 1 troll, 2 throwers, a goblin, 4 black orcs, 4 blitzers, 4 orc linemen, markers, number, and plastic bases. So 4, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 players. Okay, 16 players, you get the full team for €84, which again is a little bit more than the Games Workshop one, but in the same ballpark. The cool thing here is that, one, Hungry Troll do really good models. They do really good sculpts, and they do really good casts. And actually, each one of these guys is really well done, and individual sculpts as well. My personal favorite, you can't quite see it here though. I'm going to try and zoom in, but it's not quite like CSI, is it? Okay, you can see this little pixely blob here is actually an orc thrower being I think he's just carrying around an octopus, which is really cool. So they've gone to town with this, and this is the kind of I guess World of Warcraft influence when it comes to orcs and their beards. They are more human than the Games Workshop orcs. They are more human than like the classic 90s Games Workshop orcs. And they've got that kind of WoW vibe with the weird beards, and just they look more like a real race, but they are also outrageously ripped. But if I was an orc pirate, maybe I would have abs like that. I don't know. It's a very cool team. It is a little on the expensive side, but it was a great shout by a few of you, and therefore, number 5. Number 4, it's Punga. So they have done a Savage Orc team, and I loved it when it came out. It came out in 2 parts, and then there's an extra 3rd part as well, because that's how they do their Patreon. Now, this I love. I love the Savage Orc theme for a couple of reasons. One, they're super cool in Warhammer. Savage Orcs have always been pretty cool, pretty sweet. 2, the fact that they're a Savage Orc team means you've got the pieces there for you to run them thematically as Khorne, which is cool. But the positionals also translate over to standard orcs, which means you kind of get a bit of a 2-for-1 with your team. It makes sense. Thematically, that's the word. Thematically, it works for this frenzied orc team to be able to be run as Khorne. And in that regard, I absolutely love it. Now, there's 2 different releases, so this is where we hit the first barrier. If you weren't a Patreon of theirs, then each of these parts is $60. So you're paying basically £40 just for the STLs. But the good thing about things, and like with the RNE Studio one, is you can get this printed for £30 to £35, and they've done the whole whack. You've got goblins, you've got a troll, you've got the different orcs, you've got all the positionals, each of them with really good individual sculpts with a ton of detail. I like the style. They've got these little beardy, they almost look vampire orcs. No, they haven't. That's sad. I was hoping that we could flick through and look at some of the other sculpts, but I mean, I printed these, I've painted some of them. They paint up beautifully. They're really good fun. I love the theme, and here we go. If we actually have a look, we can see some of the individual sculpts. Now, this is the other thing, is if you are brewing up an STL team, you only really need to get a few different orcs, and then you can kind of mirror them. So even though they do kind of span it out over 2 or 3 releases, I wouldn't recommend probably spending $90 to get hold of the STLs. At that point, I'd just pick a few orcs, maybe 25, 30, kind of cherry pick the team and print it that way, or just get somebody to print the team for you and pay for it. The sculpts are good enough, and I can't remember the scaling on these guys, but you know me, I like to upscale everything anyway. So really cool stuff. Beautiful example there. Very good. Really love the Savage Orcs by Punga. Number 3, it's Savage Orcs by Brute Fun. So our friend John, Brute Fun, has been doing some outrageously good sculpts for Blood Bowl. Now, Punga have done theirs, and John has done his. So Brute Fun has done his, but This is 40 for the whole team, and I think there's a version for 45 as well that has got star players and absolutely everything in it. So if you haven't got the STLs, you can purchase them, or you can join Brute Fun's Patreon. At the moment, I think you can get these files as part of signing up, but I'm not sure. But I just jump on there and support. There we go. We're going to click the Fantasy Football Savage Orc team, the complete team bundle, pre-supported. So for $45, you get all of this, which is just so good. Now, I've printed these out. I'm waiting to do a print to pitch for them, but you can see here as we flick through, you've got a very cool jungle troll. You've got that kind of jungle theme. You've got the weird piercings for bones. You've got a massive shoulder pad there. I love it. You've got some stars and stuff like that. You've got, am I in the way? I am in the way again. One of my favorite options for a fanatic there, where he's spinning a big skull around. You've got what is very obviously Varag Ghoul Chewer. You've got a bomber there as well. I think it's absolutely brilliant. That guy's supposed to be a chainsaw, but instead of having a chainsaw, he is wielding a squig, which is amazing. And because Brute Fun gets Blood Bowl, not only can you run this as a Khorne team and an Orc team, you've also got Meat Squigs, so you can run them as a Norse team, which is just amazing. And I love these throwers with the kind of tribal masks. They're so good. I find it hilarious that the throwers who need to see to throw the ball are the ones wearing wooden masks, but honestly they kind of got that Savage Orc Shaman vibe. It works. Orcs believe things to work. You got the blitzers where there's a ton of bones, a ton of spikes. Brilliant sculpts because it's Brute Fun. You've got a whole bunch of brute blockers because this team also works for Black Orcs. So for $45, or you sign up to the Patreon and get it that way, you got a Black Orc team, you've got an Orc team, you've got a Khorne team, you've got a Norse team. It is outrageous and I absolutely love it. And you got linemen, some very characterful linemen there as well, and I just love the primal posing. It's really good, and it's backed up by some of my favorite goblins. These guys are absolutely brilliant. And you get tokens, but look at this. This is a massive bundle deal. If you can get it at a discount through their Patreon, then please do it. But if not, if you're in the market for an Orc team that's got a ton of style and a ton of like passion to it, then I absolutely love this one. And so did you guys, because like I said, I'm basing this on the amount of votes and stuff that you put in, and Brute Fun's definitely deserves to be on here. So Brute Fun, Savage Orcs / Norse / Black Orcs / Khorne. Number 2, it is Grebo Games Wildfire, Vicious Wildfire, the team bundle. So Grebo make beautiful models, beautiful sculpts, beautiful casts, and beautiful prints. And this was probably the first team I saw from them that I really loved. I didn't back it on the Kickstarter at the time because I think I'd backed something else. And this was just... It's haunted me that I didn't back it, and at some point I will pick it up. So this is their Orc team, and you get everything in it. You get all the stuff. We've got the list there. No, we don't have the list. Okay, but you get all the dudes. So let's have a look. You get the big troll, and the Grebo big guys are beautifully done. They're beautifully designed, and they are beautifully sized. They are a big guy, and this troll is wicked. We see him at almost every tournament. He's a brilliant model and a brilliant sculpt. So we got 1, 2, 3. I think this is the Orc bundle. So you end up with 4 Black Orcs, 4 Blitzers, 2 linemen, 2 throwers, maybe a couple more linemen, and the goblins in there as well. You get a ton of stuff, and every single one of these is brilliantly posed. Now, one of you did call out that this is your favorite fantasy football sculpt of all time. And you know what? A big lumbering Orc actually playing QB is so cool, and regardless of how you feel about the Orc thrower, it is a part of the game. It is a part of the theme. The Black Orcs are so good. Some beastie armor, some beastie posing, some absolutely brilliant and really characterful sculpts. This dude not wearing a helmet, it's on his belt. You've got all this stuff. Every one of these sculpts, every one of these models could merrily be a star player. And that, I think, is just one of the best things about this team. And they are chunky and they are mighty. And again, they've got this kind of World of Warcraft vibe to them. They're kind of a little bit characterful, a little bit cartoony, a little bit video gamey. That's kind of how Grebo do things. And I really, really love it. It's a great stylistic approach to Blood Bowl. And this one really works and has been amazingly executed. So I love this team. I love the goblins because they look like the Pathfinder goblins. I really need to pick it up at some point, and I think it's at some point it is going to happen because I love the Grebo models and I love the sculpts and I love this team. And for €90 you get everything, including the goblins and everything. So absolutely beautiful team. Vicious Wildfire from Grebo. Which means number one was the Torchlight Orcs. So Torchlight are another team of, well, it's one person who sculpts Blood Bowl, and every month via the Patreon or their tribe, they release a team. And the Black Rock Killers were one of their, I don't know, one of their first. It was a few in. And I fell in love with these models. And as we flick through, oh, come on, why don't you do that? It's really annoying when people do that on the thing. I want to look at each of the models individually. Anyway, the Black Rock Killers from Torchlight is a fully fledged orc team. And the reason I think so many votes, and the reason I am... Right, I'm going to be super honest. Any of the top four could have been number one, and I would have been super happy with that because they're all brilliant. Okay, and all the STL ones you can go and pick up from Printed Players or something at a pretty reasonable price of £30 to £40 with all the stuff. It's awesome. It's a great place to be. You want Savage Orcs from Brute Fun? Go get it. Printed Players do it, I think. And, you know, Punga, you'll be able to get hold of that. And Torchlight, you will definitely be able to get hold of it. And I love this team. So Torchlight dropped this one, and you've got all the players. You've got 2 throwers, you've got a bunch of blitzers, you've got a bunch of black orcs, you've got a really wicked troll. Now, I've done a print pitch for this one as well. The sizing is brilliant. I think I upscaled them. I printed out this team. We've got orcs featured in some of our other teams. In fact, I've got one here that I'm painting up with blue skin because I'm always on the... Oh, it's kind of a greeny blue skin and a greeny blue art. Well, that's a massive fail, but it's a lovely model. And I used these ones for testing out the Army Painter Quick Shades. They just smack of 90s Blood Bowl. You've got it's a beautiful thing, and I think part of why this is so popular is because if you were playing Blood Bowl in the late 90s or in the 2000s, the best thing you could do was build a team of orcs out of Ard Boys. These guys look like they're built out of Warhammer Fantasy guys, and it's just so fitting. The armor, the styling is a little bit more characterful, a little bit more cartoony than the Games Workshop ones, but it fits in the theme. They've got edge to them while being bulbous and comical, and it is absolutely brilliant. And my personal favourite thing about this team is that when this team dropped, I spoke to Torchlight and said, these goblins are awesome. Please just produce the rest of the team for them, and they did. So they then dropped a beautiful goblin team as well that I've printed and painted. I've printed like 2 of them because they're so much fun. The orcs in this, the armor is perfect for Ard Boys / Black Orcs from Warhammer Fantasy. The blitzers have got all the dynamism you'd expect for a Blood Bowl blitzer. The throwers are characterful, and the linemen just look dumb and stupid like orcs. It is brilliant, and I'm so glad so many people picked this one. But I have to say it again. Punga, Grebo, Brute Fun, Torchlight, Hungry Troll. It doesn't matter what team you go with. There's different styles. And if you can get it printed, you can purchase it. If you can print it yourself, you can print it yourself. There's so much accessibility and flexibility when it comes to an orc team. If you want to look 3rd edition, 6th edition Warhammer Fantasy Battle, Black Rock Killers, classic orc look with a sports vibe. They take blue and stripes and everything. The Bills color scheme would look amazing on this. So would the Pittsburgh Steelers scheme. They look sports, but orcs. And then you've got the flexibility of the Brute Fun and the Punga team. And you've got Griebo's kind of wow, big, burly. It's just so good. This is the best top 5 we've done so far because there are such good quality and such variance in it. So the Blackrock Killers are the number 1, but any of the teams we talked about today look brilliant on the pitch. This is the most complete list of Orc teams. And quite frankly, the Games Workshop team is great too. So if you are an Orc coach, if you are going to be playing Orcs, if you feel like picking up an Orc team, you are spoiled for choice. Any one of these is a brilliant idea, and get the Orcs to the pitch because the big ones now, the movement 5, are brilliant. It is a burly, powerful team that is faster than people think. Orcs got downgraded to tier 2, but you can win with them like tier 1. Absolutely love it. Great models everywhere. Good jobs. Orcs, Orcs, Orcs. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy blocking.
Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to help support the channel even further, please like and subscribe, or come join us on our Patreon. We have early access to content. We get loads of feedback from you guys, and we try and do competitions as much as we can. Or you can get yourself some Bonehead podcast merch on our Spreadshirt site. So if you want to support a team, especially for the Bonehead Championship, you can pick up a shirt, a mug, things like that. It all helps support the channel, and we really appreciate it. Anyway, links below. Thank you very much. Happy blocking.